for this. I've done all the mothering I can do. You're going to have to be on the friendship.
You are
can't
so
be an
funny.
LP.
We were talking about, okay, so Heather is she's the host of the podcast, Life Coach BFF, and I'm host of Motherhood Mindset. And we're sitting here talking, and we thought maybe you just want to be in on the conversation here. We're talking about, like, I don't see wrinkles on your face, and you don't have wrinkles, and I have these smile marks, and
We're so funny.
Woo!
We are
I'm
so
telling
funny.
you.
Okay, Steph, I've got to tell you, I've got a nomination for president
Of what?
of the United States. I would like to nominate.
Ooh.
And I know everybody is going to be just on the edge of their seat, just hanging on to every word. Fani Willis. Do you know who she is?
No.
Okay. She is all over the news today, Stephanie. She's the DA in Atlanta. And
That's the district attorney?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I want to have a conversation with her. I want to meet this lady. If I have to go to Atlanta, I'm not going to say that I'm going to hunt her down because that would be.
Are you going to be in jail? I'll be your one phone call.
I know I'm definitely not going to hunt her down, but I do want to meet her, and I would love to get her on with us because she is not having it. Do you hear me? She is not.
What is the topic? This sounds juicy.
Yeah, she's not having it. There are 26 gang members apparently who have been following different people on social media, like athletes, movie stars, that's celebrities. And this is the kicker. So apparently these influencers have been posting, and she talks about this in a press release today. They've been posting their assets on social media, all the things that they have, and they'll post the rooms that they're in. Like, I'm in my bathroom, I'm in my closet. 26 gang members have been arrested for robbery. I can't remember what all the charges are. I should have written them all down, but they have been arrested. And she says that, let's see what she said. She said that she has some legal advice for them. Okay. Don't she's tough, Stephanie. She's tough. I love this lady. She says, I have some legal advice for you. Don't confess to crimes on rap lyrics if you don't want it used, or what did she say? Or at least get out of my county. I think that's what she said. Now I can't read my own writing, but she's not playing around. She is not playing around. And she says she's not going to negotiate with you. She's not going to negotiate with gang members. And you're not going to.
You really have to watch things. I mean, even the if we didn't learn anything from them except don't show that 10-carat ring and where you're staying.
Yes,
because she says now that she doesn't wear all of her jewelry. She says is either fake or borrowed now. And look in New York City at the crime yesterday, a Lululemon. Like, I don't even know I can afford a Lululemon, and there were security guards just standing there, and people were just taking out hauls of clothes. And they just watched it. They're stealing your Rolex right off your arm, from a moped. I mean,
oh my word,
craziness.
Okay, so well,
what does she say?
Well, she said that she said, we're going to find you, we're going to convict you, and you will be in prison. This is what I love. She says, for the rest of your days. She's tough. Now, this is what I love about this lady, Stephanie. So, and I looked at my husband, I said, she's not afraid. She's not afraid, because a lot of people would be afraid of gang members. A lot of people in politics do not want to fool with gang members because they fear for their lives, their families' lives.
But wouldn't you want to know, like, what kind of background did she come from that she's like, honey, I ain't afraid of you?
Yes, I'm telling you, I want to meet this lady. Like,
I want to know what her mom was like.
Yeah, I want to meet her mom. I want to meet her grandmother, because strong women come from strong women. We all know that.
Yes,
Strong
yes. And
women.
you
Yeah.
don't mess with mamas from the South either.
You do not. Let me tell you, speaking of mamas from the South, okay, this is what this reminded me of. And you're going to go, I can't believe you did this. So, we moved from rural Mississippi. We lived out in the country. We had a gravel driveway. You don't live out in the country unless you got a gravel driveway. So we had a gravel driveway. Well, I came home one morning about 10 o'clock in the morning, and this is when school was in session. I was alone, and our driveway, we had an extremely long driveway.
Oh, that was fancy.
And it was gravel, an extremely long gravel driveway. So I came home, and there was a gate at the end of the driveway. So I pull up in front of the gate, and there are about 4 cars that are blocking my gate out in front of the street. And I pull up, and it's all a bunch of teenage boys.
Okay.
In each of these cars. And they've all got their windows rolled down. So I rolled my window down. I know you're going, what are you doing? I rolled my window down, and I said, hey guys, what's going on here? It gets better. They got very quiet, very quiet. And I said, and this is out on a country road, Stephanie. I mean, nobody is around.
No one's coming for you, huh?
No one's coming for me. And I said, what's going on here? I could tell they were high school age. What's going on? And I mean, just so quiet. And I said, look, I know what's going on here. And I said, y'all are good kids. Y'all are great kids. Your parents love you. You're supposed to be at school right now. And then they're just smiling at this point. And I said, please don't do this, please. And all I could think about was, what if these were my kids? Would a mama stop and say something? Because I sure hope so. And that's what I thought about Fani this morning. This is probably a mom. She probably is.
Oh, I'm sure.
And she's thinking about her own kids and her kids' friends. And that's all I could think about. And I said to these boys, I said, look, y'all are good looking kids. You're all dressed well. Like I said, I know you're loved. I can look at you and tell that you're loved. I would invite you to my home for a burger. I would. Please don't do this. So, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They're rolling up the windows, and nobody's admitted to anything, but I knew, it's like, how you just know, you get a feeling. I'm like, this is a drug deal out on this country road on a school day. So
do you ever just wonder? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell you. So I mean, I can't help but care deeply. And I know you do too. You care deeply about families. I just care about families. So I went to the high school that was close by, Stephanie, and I asked to speak to the principal, and you're not going to believe what happened. So I'm telling the principal, okay, this is at Northeast Lauderdale High School. I'm telling, it was either the principal or the assistant principal. And so I'm telling him about it. He's getting me to point them out on a composite picture board on the wall. And the deputy sheriff walks up. And after my conversation with the principal, he pulls me to the side and he says, you ready for this? Ma'am, you don't want to get involved in this. These kids, they're going to come and vandalize your home and your car, and you don't want any part of this. You need to just leave this alone and act like you never saw it. That's what he said.
Wow. That's every mom's nightmare too, because we want somebody to scoop them up and be like, look, this decision you're making, it's going to be for the long haul here. There's a fork in the road here. Oh, wow. Because it takes a village. It takes community when you don't always see your kids or the friends that they have or the things they're doing. So, wow. That's
But you want to know what I did? I didn't leave it alone.
Tell me. Well, of course you didn't. You're going to be the law.
So I went and grabbed a friend who lived fairly close by, and I had a feeling where the drug dealer was. And it was an older lady in a trailer close by. And we went to her home, knocked on the door, sat down and said, we know this is going on. We've seen these boys out in the street. And you know what she said? We're moving,
What?
we're moving to California in 2 weeks. You know what she did?
Wow. What?
Moved to California in 2 weeks.
Woo! Good for you. Oh my gosh.
So that's why this Fonnie Willis, I'm your biggest fan. I am your biggest fan.
Yes. I mean, for someone to stand up,
Yeah,
rise up and stand on the front line and be like, no more. We're not
no
taking this
more.
anymore. You are going to change this. You're going to have some consequences here.
Yeah.
I know when my dad, when I was little, um, there was a store next door to my trailer park, and I would get off at school and no one was home until like later. It was just I was latchkey kid by myself. And so I would go over to this little store that was my best friend's house. She lived in the back, but the store was in the front. Totally country,
Yeah.
and single wide, and so I would go in and I would pretend I'm grocery shopping. I think I was 6 years old, first
Oh
grade.
my goodness.
And, but there was lots of kids around and other moms. And I mean, they would, if you did something wrong, they would snatch you up, spank your butt, and then they would hand
Yeah.
you, a sandwich, a fried bologna sandwich and some Cheez-Its, and they would put you on your way. It's like spank your butt for discipline and then love you hard. I mean, it just,
Right. And that's how it was. That's how it was. It's kind
yeah.
of, did you see that meme that said, in the 70s, we didn't have a timeout. We had a time's up. Don't you remember your mom saying, your
Time
mom
is
saying to you,
up.
time's up? And that meant you were about to get a pop on the behind, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But it did take a village. So, like,
Yeah.
just like, every mom wants a mom like you to be like, hey, what are you doing here? Is this really what you want to do? Is this a life that you want to lead?
Yeah.
Because, how did they get here? Everybody wants community. And if they're lacking it with like relationships with their family, or, maybe it's a single mom that's working super hard, but she's never home. And that's how they kind of get in these gangs or these,
Yeah.
communities, or just a sense of wanting to belong. And before you
Yeah.
know it, you're somewhere way over here. And, I remember when I was little and I stole some gum. I stole gum at the store, and the owner of the store saw me steal the gum. And what I was doing, I was chewing it, and I would go to the trampoline in the back of that store and I would like throw it. And there's probably 20 pieces out there, like chewing it, and it'd be like, this big, and I would throw a big and the owner was like, "Hey, are you stealing gum?" And I was just, little elementary, and my eyes were so big. Well, he told my dad, and my dad said, "I can either discipline you, or you can go and apologize to the owner." And I thought, "Oh my goodness, just discipline me, oh, just do it. I
Right.
don't want to ever see this guy again." And I got disciplined, and then he made me go talk to the owner. And I still had to apologize. And it's something that it's been ingrained in me that
Hmm.
someone stood up because they cared enough to say, you know what?
Yes.
I love you. I am your biggest fan, and I am not going to let you go down this slippery slope.
Yeah. Care enough. That's what, I mean, mamas have to help mamas out. We do. We have
Oh,
to help mamas, each other out.
absolutely. I was talking the other day I was doing an interview with Mary Otley, and she wrote Love Triumphs. And she was saying that oftentimes kids, their behavior and their identity are not the same. But sometimes it's murky and we're just like, oh, you stole something, or you're with the wrong crowd. And we immediately are like, you're a thug, you're a hoodlum.
Yeah.
And we treat them that way, like there's no redemption. And she's like, really look at the difference between their identity, who they are, and their behavior, because oftentimes those behaviors come from those deep rooted feelings of rejection, or I don't belong, or no one loves
Hmm.
me, or there's
So
so
true.
many, different seeds that are, sometimes when we feel like we're buried, we're really being planted.
Right.
Right? There's new growth, good things can happen, but just sometimes it feels like we're overwhelmed. And I'm sure what's the lady's name again? The DEA of Atlanta?
Oh, um, Fron Willis. Fron
Fron
Willis.
Willis.
Yes.
I'm sure there were times in her life where she felt like, life had pounded her and there was no coming out of it. And she may have felt like she was buried. But, honey, if you really look at it, you have been planted. There is goodness on the other side. It just takes time. But once you've gone through the gauntlet of like having, those tough times that make you stronger, it's like a caterpillar that becomes a butterfly or that little frog from a tadpole. Or, it's like, what is when you've got that little oyster and it's that annoyance of that sand that keeps rubbing and it becomes a
Yes.
pearl. Heat and time and pressure, they create something beautiful, and I'm sure that's what she's lived that life.
Yeah, I really want to meet her. Let's try to make this happen. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm from there, so I
Some
I don't know
strings,
what I could do,
Stephanie. What
but
what can you do to make this happen? Pull some strings.
oh, goodness.
Call some people.
Call some people.
Call
I
your
don't
people. Have your people call their people.
Oh my
How
goodness.
about
Okay,
that?
you're saying have your people call my people. It's funny because a few minutes ago I was doing an interview and I was still wearing these headphones. And then I'm like, okay, we're done. And I took off running and I was still attached to these headphones. And it was like in the my Greek wedding, it jerked the heck out of me. Almost threw me down. I was like, oh my God. And now I'm gonna have my people call your people.
That's right. Have your people call. That's what a lot of interviews I do. People have assistants. And I always have now I have assistant envy. Stephanie, do you ever have assistant envy?
Oh yeah, I'm just sitting here looking at my golden doodle right now, and she's just
Yeah.
looking like, "How long are you gonna be? Are you gonna take me for a walk?" Like there is no assistant,
I
and
know. I know. I'm like, I definitely have assistant envy now. So,
yeah, it's me, myself, and I.
right. Yes. Like you say, no one's coming. So, so anyway.
Right, right, and here we are doing, all the editing, and we're doing this broadcast, and it's so many things, right?
It's so many
So
things. So
much.
what else is going on today? What do you have going on?
What do I have going on? Well, let's see. My kids came home from college.
Okay.
And we have been doing meal preps like crazy. Uh, really just teaching the kids, how to cook and all the meals that they need. And so that's been exciting. And it's created like such a great deep rooted relationships. When you're helping your kids make their favorite like mac and cheese and all the goodness. But, I wanted, it was funny because I was talking to one of my kids a while back and probably a lot of guests can relate. He was just having a bad attitude. Like he had just gone downhill and I didn't even know why. And I thought, well, I could Snapchat him, but I really don't actually know how that works.
I don't either.
Or I could text him. And so I texted him and I was like, hey, what's going on? I said, this is how, if you continue on this road,
Mm.
I don't believe our relationship will be strong. And you're going to be leaving here and this is how I feel. I have been your biggest advocate, your biggest fan. I've been there since the beginning of time when no one else cared. I am here for you.
Right.
And I said this is kind of how the list of things that I don't like. I don't that what I see I don't like. And this is the list of things that I see your great potential and your amazingness. And the third thing is that I love you, and these are the reasons why.
Hmm.
And he came back and he said, Mom, I didn't even realize I've been just dealing with so many things that maybe you didn't know about. And I know that if I talked to you, you wouldn't you would just understand, you would just listen, but I didn't give you that benefit. And he said, I do not deserve, I don't deserve you chasing me.
Oh, that is that. Yeah, that's
Oh my
touching.
gosh, he said, I don't deserve it. I said, "'Cause
Wow.
I am gonna chase you. I am gonna lean in and I'm gonna love harder. You are not gonna get away from this because I have prayed for you your whole life and half of
Yeah.
mine, and we're gonna rise up out of this." And he came home from school and he's like, "I wanna take you for coffee." And it was
How
like,
mature.
you have to fight for your kids. And I know there's a lot of moms out there right now going, well, they're further along than that. And I've tried everything and I can't get them back. Just pray.
Yeah.
Maybe
Prayer
even get
is, yeah.
is everything. Pray, get counseling for yourself, send
Hmm.
them to counseling, maybe one on one, a great Christian counselor. And because God will not fail you. He will not let you down. If you're fighting, he's fighting.
Yeah. And too, and I tell moms this all the time, you can do everything right and still not have the outcome that you want or you expected. You could have done all the things right because I mean, there are thousands of probably a million moms out there who did everything right,
Yeah, yeah,
but
absolutely.
do not or are not having the outcome that they planned for because
Yeah,
you can only control so much. And with grown kids, especially, you can't control what grown children do or college children for that matter, in a
it's
lot of
true. It's
ways.
true. And
Yeah.
I know that there are some children who have been adopted. There have been kids who feel even within their own family where it felt like it was a strong family. They felt like they weren't seen or heard, or they got in with the wrong
Right.
crowd. And there's just whatever these little roots are that they have. You ever been like doing landscaping before and you pull up a weed and that sucker is like 12 feet long? It just keeps going,
Right.
going, going. It goes up under the driveway, under the truck. I mean, you're just like, how did it get this big?
Yeah.
And it's just so little. Those little roots, they just take root. And before you know it, I mean, these people are coping. They're coping with um, drugs and medicating and, maybe friends that they shouldn't be hanging out with. But hey, a mom's prayer, there is nothing like it.
Nothing like it. I mean, even when you don't have control over the situation, because like we said, you can only control your thoughts and your actions, not theirs, but you can control prayer. And it's so important.
Yeah, and somebody prayed for that DEA of Atlanta.
Yes, let's
You
pray
know?
for Franny
Oh,
because she is taking no prisoners. Is she?
yeah, it's like every mama's dream.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I
Yeah.
hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. We are out of time. I almost said out of town, but
Again.
clearly not out of town.
Well, you're Central Time, I'm West Time, so,
I know you have a whole day ahead of you. So I hope you have a beautiful day and I will see you next week, Stephanie.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Thanks.